Good everyone. So we're gonna put this new seat cover on. Okay, so I've taken the cover off, and this is a pretty hard seat. And so I'm going to try just a very subtle lowering. I want to lower this seat so it's a little bit lower for my kids, but I want to try it to do it very subtly. So there's a couple different ways I can do it. I'm just going to try taking a little bit, and I don't want it to be super noticeable. I don't want it to look like I cut the seat off. So let's see what I can do with a couple of different tools. Okay, so we'll see how this goes. So first I'm going to try just a kitchen knife here. There's our first bit. And I think this is where a lot of people quit. When they're cutting their seats, they get to this point, and I think this is where most people quit. They may use one of these knives. This is one of those that have the disposable blades. So I'm going to put this all the way out and just try to use it a little bit here. I think it's dull as can be. I have a rasp. This is what's called a rasp. It's actually a file for wood. And so let's see how this works. This actually works quite well. This is going to make a humongous mess, but it's actually working pretty good. So I'm going to try one more tool, and this is going to be a loud power tool. Okay, so this is just a random orbit vibrating sander, and I've got 120 grit paper, I think, on here. Still, my best tool is going to be that rasp. So this is again a rasp for a wood file. So what I want to do is I want to scoop this out just a little bit. Shape right there. So now the goal is to try to match, okay, because we want this to be the same on both sides. So something you might be able to tell by looking at this is there's a grain to this. And so if you push this way with the biting part of your bit, you get these big chunks. But if I'm using my file to go this way, it seems to just shave off a little bit at a time, which is really what I want. I want a nice, smooth, big chunks I really didn't want to have out there. But, you know, it's not going to look terrific. I mean, the chances are that we'll use this bike for about a year, and I'll probably end up just putting a seat concept seat on it anyway. So but this is going to avoid me having to pay $200 for a seat now. And so this is just kind of the cheap way to go and just get a seat cover and cut this thing down and make it serviceable for a short period of time. That feels pretty good. Okay. I'm going to leave this full height in the back just for a little bit extra padding for the pillion, the passenger, pillion for Canada and European folks. Really kind of lopsided. but it's actually the foam that's lopsided as far as I can tell. This sitting flat. That might be a little bit down. I think that'll work. Let me get the chop back out and we'll clean up a little bit here. Okay, so with that cleaned up, we can put this new seat on. So this is a kind of a cool tool I just got a little bit ago for a project at the house here. This is a power stapler. It's the 12 volt Milwaukee M12 and it runs off of a cordless battery. I don't have the best of hands. I've got some numbness and some arthritis starting, so this thing saves my butt on that. Pneumatic ones work well too, but you can adjust your depth and it has some nice safety features on it. So that's been a cool tool to have. So back with the DR-Z400, let's put a new air filter in this little beast. So this air filter is pretty sad and tired. It's very easily rips, and you see these holes in it and stuff, so it's definitely in need of a replacement. So I'm going to go ahead and take this off, and this will go in the garbage. So this is a Maxima pre-oiled filter. I got this from Rocky Mountain. I think it was like 15 bucks or something like that. They're not very much. So what we'll do is take this basket feed this hole up, this stem up through the hole. We'll stretch this over the top here. I'm just being careful not to rip it, not to overstretch. So just a little bit at a time. Imagine putting a tire on, but being very careful, realizing that your tire can rip. And that's how gentle I'm trying to be here. There we go. This is a twin stage filter. You know, I don't know if I really know enough to really make the argument of what kind of filter is the best. I've heard lots of arguments for and in favor of and against things like K&N filters, twin air filters and all that. I have a twin air on my DR-650. I have a K&N, but it came with it, but I don't use it. It seems like the twin air works just as well, and I have a twin air cleaning kit. So this is a Maxima filter, another dual stage, very similar to the twin air, so figured I'd give it a shot. And what I'm looking at here is I just want to make sure everything looks good, which it does. And there's a lot of people that will put a little bit of grease around the outside here. So we're going to go ahead and just do that. There's actually a ton of it inside here on this bike. So first thing I want to do is clean off all that gunk that somebody put in there. I've never had this before. Looks like they used a grease gun. See here, I just put a real thin layer just with my brush around the outside of this, and just carefully place this in here, trying not to touch it on anything that's dirty. Hooks through the, goes right into a little slot here on this retainer, and it hooks on there. And and we have a new air filter. So that's all there is to it there. The other thing you want to check when you're doing this, just make sure that you don't have anything down at the bottom of your air box. You can vacuum that out if need be. Clean it with contact cleaner. We've already taken care of all that stuff, so I won't worry about that on this video, but that'll give you an idea of how to do that. So now we got our new deal, and we're going to go ahead and start getting this thing put right back together. Put a new seat on it, and it's time to take this thing for a ride. I've got a new light for the DR-Z400. So this is the new headlight. It's just a cheap, this thing was 20 bucks on Amazon, I think. It's just a basic, I think it's a KTM knockoff, might be the Honda knockoff, I think it's the KTM one, but just something cheap to get by. I'll probably upgrade later on, you know, with something like a Baja Designs or something like that, or Squadron Pro, but where this bike didn't come with a decent headlight, we're going to replace it with this. So I'll just kind of briefly show you how I diagnosed what wires are what, because this thing was kind of a hodgepodge, and how I fixed this to make it work a whole lot better and to be a lot more sensible for down the road. So let's go ahead and dig into it. So here on the back of the light, it comes with this little basic switch here. I'll leave a link in the description for this light. Most of the universal lights out there are about the same. They come with a plug-in for a specific bike. I don't know if this is for a KTM or what it might be, but I can't imagine why you would have a $10,000 bike but only have a $20 headlight on it. But to each his own, I suppose. But this has a little clearance light right here, and then it's got your high and low beam bulb in the center here. It looks very similar to the old one that's on here, so you know, like I say, we're kind of replacing a cheap one with a cheap one. But I've got a green and a brown wire here, and then I've got a white, a green, and a blue wire going into here. So the important thing is that I note what the old one is. Go ahead and flip this on. Okay, I got both lights. There's my low beam. There's my high beam, and now I got my indicator light up here on the dashboard. I have here, and both the lights have a green wire on them, so that's my common. So I've made sure that the common ground that I have hooked up on the machine is actually there, and then I've got a corresponding female here for the blue light, which I'm thinking right now it runs to the right side of this, or one of the sides of this light, and I think that's going to be my low beam, and then the white is going to be the high beam, and then this will be the wire, the other common wire, or the other power wire for this light on the bottom here, this clearance light, I think you call it, or auxiliary light. So I've just got to hook up two more connectors there. Okay, so I'll slip my heat shrink tubing on there. And then I will slip my connector in there. I'll go ahead and crimp this. Go ahead and just squeeze this a little bit so it's round, so that the heat shrink will go on it okay. Basically, once you see smoke, you want to stop. That's gone actually a little too far when you see smoke. So and we'll take this this light, and this has plastic on here. You want to make sure that stays on there until it's all installed. That way you don't scratch the new lens. So first thing I'll do is I'll hook up the ground, or the common. Okay, so that's all hooked up. Just want to make sure nothing's touching. I'll go ahead and turn this on. Looks like I've got my high beam, low beam, and my indicator light's working. Looks good. Okay, looks like I got lucky and it's hooked up right. So I'll go ahead and turn this off. And let's get these pushed in the rest of the way. I think what we'll do is we'll make an aluminum box basically that mounts out here that will attach to these to the triple clamps here. It'll actually utilize one of these bolts and mount that across here, and that'll conceal all these wires, everything in a box, and then we'll be able to attach the light to that. That'll look a lot better, and it'll be a lot more secure. So for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and zip tie this on here so we can actually ride the bike. Try it out here. There we go.